enjoyed the promotion to it. I've enjoyed the 2K17 adverts that have gone out. They've been excellent, really well done. So they've done a phenomenal job, 2K, for me on that side of it. And if anything, WWE should actually sign these guys up to do more of that in their own company. So yeah, I think they've done well there. I think as far as the game goes, I've played it all of sort of like an hour, and I did say to Matt as well at the time that I enjoyed the actual match. I thought that the match play itself works a lot better. It's a lot more. It's not as awkward looking when you watch the wrestlers walking around and tie up for a move. It's a lot more smoother. But what put me off was when I went into Korea and there were all these fabulous options to choose your promo. I thought, oh, that's great. This is something new. Press it. Oh, nothing. He's just going to mime over it. And I've got to sit there and do all the talking for him, have I? Because it wasn't like they brought in any voice actors to do this or anything like that. So that was hugely disappointing for me that they didn't do something like that. And actually, if anything, Matt, I wish they'd go back to the original way they used to do a career, which was, just kind of have one wrestler, forget the customized stuff at the beginning, but just have one wrestler. And yeah, similar to if anyone's been playing the new FIFA 17 game, similar to what do they call that part in the game? I completely forgot.
Oh, the journey.
The journey, yes, similar to that. I would do something like that, whether it's like an old indie wrestler that has to come in for his last 2 years or whatever in the business, and you're with this guy on the rise, or whether it's a completely new guy. I would like to see a different style. Why does it always have to be a young wrestler? I don't understand that, but any kind of storyline that's just going to have a little bit more voice acting in it and depth to the actual things you can do. You can still have that choice bit in it, but I just feel with what they have now, it's still lacks in so many ways as far as for me to go out and buy it. But I'll be interested to see what all our listeners think, because that's only my perception of it, and you guys might actually be enjoying it. So email us in at the Wrestling Skull podcast and let me know if you like it. And Andy, you do the same. You let me know if you've got it and you like it, and we'll read that out. Next question is, this is interesting, Matt. We got a big star on now. We've made it to the big time. The Rock has emailed us apparently, and The Rock says Mick Foley seems to be portrayed as very weak up with Stephanie. Just wondered what you thought of how Mick's doing as a GM. Me personally, I've not enjoyed Mick Foley in this role. I do feel that now you say he's been portrayed weak, I do actually see what you mean. I do feel he's been portrayed a little bit like that, and he's got no bottle all the time, and he's bowing down to Stephanie. What do you think about the whole thing, Matt, and the chemistry there? Do you think there's something missing with Mick there?
Yeah, there definitely is something missing there. It does seem like he backs down quite a bit to Stephanie, and I'm not sure whether they're angling that for a story later on, like he's going to be betrayed by her or something. I don't know.
Triple H Mick 10 or something.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right, does it? I mean, you'd expect more from him, and even like some of the stuff he's coming out with, supposed to be these great ideas and whatever, they're not that great. And if he's supposed to be like competing with SmackDown and that, he hasn't really done a great job of it so far. If this was real, I'd be worried about his job.
Yeah. I just don't buy it. I wish Mick would be more like I know the real Mick when I heard him talk about the problems with WWE when he wasn't employed by them. I wish he was that Mick Foley, because we might actually get somewhere. Also, The Rock has a request, Matt, on Magnificent 7 on Hardcore Champions. So we'll look into that. We'll get back to you. But thank you nonetheless, The Rock. Next email, Sanjay emails us in. This is a Brill wrestling show. Can you tell me why when the WWF bought WCW, they were unable to have the talent like Goldberg, Sting, NWO, etc.? Yeah, well, from top of my, just thinking back, Matt, I think the big reason is that those guys were under contract from Time Warner, and Ted Turner had these beautiful, lengthy contracts, guaranteed money. So the likes of Goldberg were, on absolute millions a year. and of course, if they signed for WWE, that would mean that they'd lose that. They have to break their contract and probably get paid a bit less by WWE. In fact, a lot less for some of these guys. So that was the problem. Basically, in a sense of the word, although WWE bought WCW, they didn't buy the intellectual property. They could not buy from Time Warner the talent under their contract. It just couldn't happen. So literally, they just got the video archive is probably their biggest coup in all that. Matt, I don't know if you have anything to add to that or know anything that I don't now.
No, I think you're spot on there. I think that's what it was, wasn't it? It was the fact that they were getting paid more for doing no work at all. So
Yeah.
Some people can have some hard feelings about that, thinking that they should have had a love for the wrestling more than the money. But it's hard to turn down a lot of money for some people, I guess.
Yeah, I think when you listen to a lot of interviews from a lot of those guys, I think a lot of them say, you know what, we was on the road for a long time, and if anything, it gave us downtime to think about our careers and before stepping into WWE anyway. So it probably done them a favour looking at what happened sometimes in the invasion angle and the way all the guys were portrayed under one. It wasn't excellently done for the WCW side of guys. Okay, next. Oh, here he is. He's back. Give him a little intro. Jimbo, Wrestler Squad number 9. Okay, he's got a few things. He's got a long one as usual. First off, TNA. This is a good one. TNA needs to bring back IRS and work an angle into this current state. Actually believe they would draw on this. Your thoughts? Well, I mean, why not? I mean, at this point, Matt, they might as well hit the reality era. I mean, they're doing well with Matt Hardy, so having IRS might be quite entertaining at the point they're at the moment. I don't know. Could be could be quite interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are there.
Well, it would be interesting, but I suppose only for guys like us who still know IRS. I guess there's a lot of people now that don't know who he was.
Yeah.
He was never an A-star wrestler, I would say. Anyway, good skills, but he was never like top of the bunch. So I guess it would be kind of a weird move. But anyway.
Yeah. Also, the cruiserweight division in WWE is absolutely shocking. It's not the wrestlers; it's the presentation. Do you see any future in this? Great show last week, by the way. Well, yeah, thank you, Jimbo. Yeah, cruiserweights, Matt. We did touch on this a little bit earlier. I think we both kind of stated that it's not been how we thought it would come across, Matt. I mean, do you think it will get better, or do you think this is a really bleak look at the moment for these guys, and the way WWE are producing it is not that great? Because I know you said last week about how TNA done it so well with the X division, and they might need to look at that to do well. Did you see anything on the horizon here, like going into maybe a Survivor Series being a little bit better?
It's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Because they did a whole series, didn't they? They did the Cruiserweight Classic, and every match on there was pure gold, wasn't it? It was something different, and it felt very different. And you can't quite put your finger on it sometimes, but it was quality wrestling. And then it comes on to Raw, and then it's like a switch has been flipped, and something's very different, and it's not the same. And it makes you wonder whether, like, someone who was calling the shots at the Cruiserweight Classic saying, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do that, have you got any ideas? I'll take them into consideration. And then now they may have gone to Raw, and it's like, well, no, you're being told what you're going to do now. You're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and you're allowed to do this and allowed to do that. And it just feels like that's what's happened, and they've been very limited. I can only hope that they pick up on this sooner rather than later, and they have the vision for the Cruiserweight Classic, not for the Cruiserweight division, to actually change this and make it more like the Classic. Because I personally wouldn't mind seeing the Classic as a yearly kind of thing, and they can introduce a new kind of Cruiserweight to challenge for the title yearly on a yearly basis, and it could be. It's something that reminds me, like, as bad as we talk about TNA, at least they do their X division well. At least it feels like the way it should, and they should draw from that to actually pick up on that and actually make this their own, because this could potentially be what makes Raw very unique from SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, Jimbo. I just see right at the bottom of the email that you put in brackets. Jimbo's put in brackets um, with the way the cruiserweight, in my opinion, has been portrayed on Raw. I would have just had this in NXT. At least the wrestlers would have got to wrestle the way they want, and we would have appreciated it more. So yeah, good point. Probably should have done looking at the way it's going at the minute. Nonetheless, hopefully it'll get better. Thank you, Jimbo, as always. Jeremy now emails in. Is it at all possible we could get a HBK, cool, blimey, versus Brock Lesnar match at Mania 33? My thinking is Brock goes over on Goldberg, HBK wins the title at Rumble, and they work in what happened. Hang on, I'm trying to read this sentence. I think what you mean is they work in what happened to Shane at SummerSlam and have HBK represent him against Lesnar. This could be a SmackDown versus Raw. This would be an epic match. Your thoughts? Cool, blimey. Well, I mean, first of all, we don't know HBK is going to be even coming back, so people are really speculating to be going as far ahead. But Jeremy, in my opinion, yes, this would be a tremendous match. Of course, Brock versus HBK would be a classic. I wouldn't doubt that for a second, but I very much doubt it's going to happen. Matt, any possibilities to the fantasy booking here that Jeremy's got?
Well, it's definitely thinking outside the box, and like WWE need to do that more often sometimes. I wouldn't have seen it coming. Definitely would have been a real shock for me if that happened. But I think the way I look at it too, like logically. I look at Shawn Michaels and I look at Brock and I see them as the tools that will be used to sort of help get the next breed of wrestler over. Like Shawn could come back for a match with AJ, but AJ would have to be the one that comes out looking the better wrestler out of the two. He'd have to be the one that comes out on top of that. Much like Brock, we talk about this week in, week out, like who will be the guy that beats Brock? Because it won't be Shawn, because there wouldn't be much longevity in there.
No, I'm totally with you there. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, of course, it would be a great match, Jeremy. I'm not doubting it would be an epic match. I would have loved to have seen that. But in more of their HBK when he was around in 2002 with Brock, would have been a classic match. Unfortunately, we're on different brands for most of that. So now we've got another question here, Matt. Stay Lucky is his name. So interesting. If Undertaker works like he did when he first came into WWE, I think he could get away with some more matches. Listening to you last week, I totally agree with everything you said about The Undertaker. Let's be honest, the days of those amazing matches he had against HBK and Hunter were unbelievable for him to pretty much steal the show at every stage of his career. I think fans expect too much of a guy that was considering retirement in the late 90s. Taker should be billed and booked appropriately more. P.S. Stay Lucky. Oh, thanks, Stay Lucky. Interesting name. What do you think about that? The email and the statement read there, I guess, about the Undertaker's. I mean, the likelihood of we said last week. I mean, there's definitely room if he worked that pace, Matt, that he could get away with, a couple more matches. And I will say one thing with Stay Lucky is that I totally agree with him in the sense that I do think some fans do expect too much of him now. Like the last couple of years when we saw him up against Bray, especially, I think fans, I don't know what they were expecting, but the guy is not. He shouldn't even be able to steal the show at his age. I mean, the fact he was doing it is incredible, but I don't think fans should put too much on the Undertaker matches. I know he had the streak for a long time, and that always built the more anticipation, but I think the days of him and expecting him to pull out a 5-star match are pretty much gone. I mean, to be honest with you, Matt, what he done against Brock Lesnar in that Hell in a Cell last year, I was very amazed at what he could do in that at the time. Do you think there's more longevity in him toning down his wrestling style slightly?
I think that would be a great idea. I mean, you mentioned like the match with Bray. I wasn't a fan of that match at all. I think it was completely wrong.
Mhm.
I think like